This video provides a brief overview of an integrated and manufacturing-specific planning and performance management process. It integrates strategic, financial, and operational planning and performance management applications, like those shown on the screen, into a single technology-enabled process. Through integration, the process creates 4 incremental business capabilities that support effective complexity management. The process creates value by reducing the cost of complexity, an amount that can reach 5% of sales in global manufacturers. What's more, it can deliver this value with processes that cost as much as 50% less than the ones manufacturers have now. And a unique part of its value proposition is that insight-driven savings can often self-fund implementation costs. Key features that underlie this process are shown on the screen, the most obvious of which is that rolling forecasts and sales and operations planning are part of the same workflow and process. But beyond this, the process enables manufacturers to create value by more effectively managing cost structures, cash flows, and risks. Appreciating this solution starts with an understanding of traditional software tools. They were designed to meet the needs of individual stakeholders, not the enterprise as a whole. For example, budgeting tools meet the needs of finance, while sales and operations planning tools meet the needs of operations. Critical capabilities that span strategic, financial, and operational applications are simply falling between the cracks of these fragmented tools. Now, some vendors would appear to have addressed this fragmentation issue. Many now offer their interpretation of integrated solutions. For example, finance vendors provide integrated financial planning, while operational vendors provide integrated business planning. But these solutions support immature forms of integration and don't address complexity-driven capability gaps. The evidence of these capability gaps lies in unachieved management objectives, like those shown on the screen. Despite significant investments in what analysts refer to as leading technologies, finance and operations still struggle to achieve them. What's not always fully appreciated is that in complex settings, neither finance nor operations can fully achieve these objectives on their own. Scenario planning and cash flow forecasting provide classic examples of this, as traditional financial and operational tools can't fully support these processes on their own. What's not always appreciated is that ineffective scenario planning and cash flow forecasting are symptoms of deep-rooted and systemic capability gaps, ones that undermine the ability to execute against profitable growth, operational excellence, and other key business objectives. What differentiates this integrated solution from traditional ones is the way in which applications are supported. 2 key factors comprise this differentiation. First, strategic, financial, and operational applications all share the same security, workflow, collaboration, and issue, event, and task management tools on a single platform. Second, these same applications all share a single prescriptive analytics tool that can support the most complex financial and operational planning models. This is a critical differentiator since no other software company does this. What results are 4 incremental capabilities that individual strategic, financial, and operational applications do not support, either on their own or together with others as part of a process. These 4 incremental business capabilities are shown on the screen, with integrated scenarios at the center, as it is a key enabler of the other 3. These capabilities address 4 problems associated with immature forms of integrated planning and performance management processes. More specifically, the integrated processes that they support address specific complexity-driven challenges. First, it explicitly connects financial and operational plans to business targets, customer value propositions, and key underlying assumptions. Second, it breaks down functional silos by enabling organizations to manage productivity and key trade-offs across functions and entities. Third, it enables organizations to do this quickly with concurrent processes that enable more effective rolling forecasts. And last, it simultaneously exposes financial and operational risks with integrated scenarios. One point is important to reiterate here. All 4 of these business capabilities require an embedded prescriptive analytics model that is shared across strategic, financial, and operational planning and performance management applications. This is a key differentiator as this feature is not supported by other software tools. Integrated scenarios is the capability that best illustrates the difference between mature and immature planning solutions. Software companies often claim to support it, but few are capable of simultaneously and accurately answering the types of questions shown on the screen, especially when it comes to connecting all these questions to cash flow. As complexity increases, it becomes increasingly difficult to forecast cash flow without understanding the physical flow of inventory. In other words, manufacturers reach a point where there is no difference between a supply chain planning model and a cash flow forecasting model. In this context, our solution supports a more mature form of scenario planning. In so doing, it also provides a single version of the truth that is more complete than traditional applications. What's more, our solution can answer these questions even when faced with a myriad of interconnected changes like those shown on the screen. Traditional processes and planning models are not mature enough to do so, especially when evaluating these scenarios and embedding the results into an updated rolling forecast process. Collectively, these four incremental business capabilities comprise the gap that separates partially and fully integrated planning and performance management processes. It's also the gap that leaves business outcomes disconnected from resource requirements, because vertically based functional views of performance are disconnected from horizontally based process views. In other words, outputs are disconnected from inputs, which, in the end, is what separates strategically oriented finance functions from more tactically oriented ones. Collectively, these four incremental capabilities support one overarching one, that being the ability to manage complexity by planning, managing, and governing business outcomes. What's more, its value is significant, upwards of 5% of sales annually. Evidence of this value opportunity is significant and compelling, as it comes from some of the most respected sources, like the Harvard Business Review. What's common to the value erosion represented by these research studies is an inability to plan and manage outcomes. In delivering this value, this process helps manufacturers overcome the number one barrier to executing against the most common business objectives, that being functional silos. Global manufacturers are hitting a wall when it comes to integrating strategic, financial, and operational planning and performance management processes. They are plagued by the same challenges that existed a decade ago. One important reason for this is that traditional software vendors have provided little meaningful innovation in this area. While traditional tools may be adequate for smaller manufacturers, they aren't meeting the needs of global manufacturers. For them, adapting these tools to their business can feel like pushing a rock up a hill. The gap between mature and immature forms of integrated processes is significant, but most manufacturers have yet to recognize it. This presents a unique opportunity for forward-thinking executives who recognize the potential value of such processes and how they provide a source of competitive differentiation that can separate them from competitors. Manufacturers have a choice to make when it comes to integrated business planning. Use the same old thinking that has led to mediocre results, or look for innovative alternatives. If you're looking for such an alternative, we have one to show you, one that is redefining what leading practices look like in the manufacturing sector. Please feel free to use the contact information on the screen for further details about the contents of this video.